Hello and welcome back to another Transfer Talk show on Football Talk Podcast. My name is Ozzy and I'm your host for today's show. It's been over a week since we did the last transfer show and a lot has happened. A few deals have been finalized, some on the verge of completion, but it's also the season where you're hearing all sorts of rumours. So let's discuss the transfer rumours that have been gathering clicks on the net. And we'll start with some official news, and that is Max Kilman to West Ham. Now, he was highly sought after, so West Ham's done a great job in recruiting the defender. I'm sure the new manager, Lopetegui, played a part as he managed Kilman at Wolves not so long ago. There was even some interest from abroad, but I think this is a great move for both club and player. Also, another great thing to come out of this deal is that Max Kilman's former club, Maidenhead United, actually added a sell-on clause when they sold the defender to Wolves, so they will receive 10% of the 40 million transfer deal. So that £4 million will give the club a huge financial boost and stability in the long term. Now, I have to be honest, this transfer news certainly surprised me as I thought the player was on the verge of signing for AC Milan, but somehow Brighton managed to sign the very highly rated defensive midfielder in Mats Wifa. Now, as a Liverpool fan, I hope we don't regret not pursuing this player as he's been managed by Arne Slot at Feyenoord and he knows the player very well. But for Brighton, it's a win-win situation. They have a player who could become a household name in years to come, and they will reap the rewards if they were to sell him for big money in the future. So I'm looking forward to seeing him in action and see how he does in the Premier League. Another Dutchman making the move to the Premier League as Joshua Zirkzee completes his move to Manchester United from Bologna. Now, I covered this rumour not so long ago, and in my opinion, my stance of the player and the move to Manchester United remains the same. I think Zirkzee is a talented player with huge potential. He's in the same boat as Højlund, where they're both young and raw strikers at this stage of their careers. I thought it would have been a bit more smart for Manchester United to have signed a more experienced striker like an Ivan Toney, for example. But it looks like United are looking to the future. In terms of the actual deal, I believe he had a release clause of around £35 million. And I think that's a bargain in this day and age. Now, stylistically, he reminds me of Daniel Sturridge, the way he dribbles and glides with the ball and is a clean finisher in front of goal. The former Bologna manager, Thiago Motta, compared him to Ronaldinho when he first joined Barcelona. Now, I'm a huge Ronaldinho fan, and I followed his career from PSG, and that comparison for me is not accurate, but that's just my opinion. We'll be able to make a better judgment of the player in the coming months when he plays for Manchester United in the league. Now, this rumour has made a lot of Liverpool fans lose the plot, and I'm being dead serious when I say that. It looks like Yoro is set to sign for Manchester United. The latest news that we have is that he actually flew into Manchester earlier today to take his medical. Now, if that goes smoothly, he will be announced as a Manchester United player by the end of the week. My thoughts on him joining Manchester United, I don't think it's the right club per se, but they are signing young players with huge potential. So they're taking a leaf out of Liverpool's book in terms of smart recruitment. But I'll be lying if I said I wasn't a little bit disappointed that Liverpool didn't pursue the player. as we were strongly linked to him earlier in the window. Now, I'm not throwing shade, but he's definitely using this move as a springboard for his dream move, which we all know is Real Madrid. It's public knowledge. But for Manchester United, I think it's very important that they sign an experienced defender to play alongside him. Another player that they're after is De Ligt, and he would fit that profile quite well, to be fair. So it looks like United are heading into the right direction with the type of signings that they've started to make. Let's see what other business, other clubs in the league do. Overall, in terms of this transfer, if this move is completed, I have to be honest, I think it's a fantastic signing for the Red Devils. Just got a comment here from Anfield Uncle Roz. Big up, bro. Big up yourself, Uncle Roz. Hope you're doing well. Now, onto this rumor. I mentioned De Ligt as a possible partner for the incoming Euro for Manchester United, but it looks like Bayern Munich are trying to keep hold of the Dutch defender. So another name that's been linked with Manchester United is Jared Branthwaite. Now, he's a young defender with huge potential, similar to Yoro. But is this the right signing for the club? I'm not so sure. Like I said, I think United need experience in the back line, especially as Rafael Varane has departed the club. And for United, you don't want to become another Chelsea where you're signing all these young gems, all these young players for the future, but they're not actually ready to play for the present. In terms of Branthwaite, I rate the player highly, and I can understand why Manchester United are pursuing him. But if this deal was to be concluded, Manchester United fans will need to be very patient, as they'll be seeing two young defenders in the lineup who are learning their trade, and they will be making mistakes. So let's see if this rumor has any weight. But at this stage, I don't see any development happening anytime soon. Now, this one hurts for me, as I said it on record that Calafiori is my first choice centre back for Liverpool this summer. And now it looks like Arsenal have taken the march and are in talks with the club and the player. Now, apparently, a fee of 33.5 million plus 4 million in add-ons has been agreed, as well as personal terms with the player. But there's a slight bump on the road as Bologna and Calafiori's former club, FC Basel, are in disagreement with regards to the sale. FC Basel are demanding 50% of the transfer fee as they inserted a release clause when they sold the player to Bologna. So I say this, Liverpool, get your act together and please hijack this deal. Speaking of defenders, apparently, according to rumours or whatever sources you see online, Liverpool have begun talks with Crystal Palace to sign Mark Guehi for £60 million. Now, I know he's had a great tournament for England at the Euros, but 60 million is very steep. Now, I do like the player. I think he's a solid defender, but that's about it. I don't mean to be rude when I say this, but for me, he's a steady Eddie. Liverpool need a left side centre back who is great on the ball and can carry the ball from the back and also play left back if required. Profile wise, I guess Gay does fit the bill. He's a centre back that is capable of playing as a left back, but there's parts of his games that I don't feel like he really excels or stands out from the crowd. I could be wrong, but that's my opinion of the player. But the main thing for me is this transfer fee. For 60 million, I think there's better options in the market. Now, this is a player we're all familiar with as he played a part in Spain's Euro 2024 campaign. He was mainly a sub for most of the games, but he definitely had an impact on the games when he played. With no surprise, he's now been linked with a move to the Premier League. Now, I was under the assumption that he was on Barcelona's radar, but due to their final issues, they may not be able to pursue the player as they're probably focusing on signing Nico Williams. So that gives Arsenal the opening to make a bid for the player. I actually think he would be a great signing for the Gunners. He could form a decent partnership alongside Declan Rice in a double pivot. So let's see if there's any development to this rumor. Speaking of the Euros, this player really stood out and had a phenomenal tournament for Spain, and he is Dani Olmo. Now, I mentioned this in the past, but it surprises me that no club has pursued the player in the past, and he's always been a talented player. But this might be the summer where he makes his move, and according to rumours, he has a release clause of £50 million, and Man City, no surprise there, are ready to match it. I would be so annoyed if City signed him, as he would fit in perfectly playing for Pep Guardiola. He's so versatile and can play in so many different roles. He would be a top signing for City if the rumours are true. Now, if you're not familiar with this player, you may need to check him out on YouTube and watch a few compilations because he looks like an amazing talent. He's a player who plays as a number 10 that can also play on the left wing. He's in a similar mode of Eden Hazard, in my opinion, so there's no surprise as to why Chelsea are being linked with the player. If they sign him, for me, he'll be a starter for Chelsea ahead of Sterling and Mudryk. But unfortunately, I think it might be very hard to prize him away as he's been linked with a move to Bayern Munich and PSG. And I believe he will actually end up at PSG, replacing Mbappe on the left wing. Now, I touched up on this rumour earlier on with regards to Manchester United looking for a more experienced striker. And one name that sticks to my mind is Ivan Toney. Now, with the signing of OZZWRLD, I very much doubt United will be in the hunt for another striker in this window. And personally, I'm glad it's not Toney that will be moving to Old Trafford. One, I'm a big fan of his. I wouldn't like him to join a rival. And secondly, he's actually a Liverpool fan. So that wouldn't sit well with me if he joined the Red Devils. But as it stands, it looks like Ivan Toney will not be joining Manchester United this summer. Speaking of United, the recently departed and now free agent Raphael Varane is being linked with a surprise move to Como. Now, this is the Italian side that is managed by head coach Cesc Fabregas, and they managed to gain promotion to Serie A last season. So naturally, they will want to sign an experienced player in order to give themselves a chance of remaining in Serie A. But Raphael Varane, despite his injuries, I still feel like there's a quality player there. I was expecting him to move to Saudi Arabia, if I'm being honest. But it looks like he could be heading to Italy, and what a coup it would be for Como. Now, this is an interesting rumour as Sule is a player with huge potential, technically gifted, and would be a great signing for any team in the Premier League. But it looks like he could be heading to Leicester City, who apparently have placed a bid of around the £21 million mark, but the valuation is slightly short as Juventus are demanding for 25 million. I think they will come to an agreement in the coming days. So Leicester fans, if you're not excited, I think you should be. Sule will be a major coup. And for me, I'm excited to see how he performs in the Premier League. Jadon Sancho has returned to Manchester United after his loan spell ended with Dortmund. Now, it's still a bit unclear in terms of what the club's stance is on the player. Are they ready to cash in on him, or are they willing to give him a second chance? Honestly, I think the player should move on. He's at the club that for me is toxic from top to the changing rooms, and he's clashed with the manager in the past, and he looks like he'll be staying at the club as well. We can all see that the talent is there, which he showcased for Dortmund in the second half of last season. So why would he stick around? I think he needs to find another club, and there will be plenty of suitors for him. One club that's been linked with him is Juventus, and I think that could be an interesting proposition. If there is an offer on the table, I think a move to Juventus would make a lot of sense. He'll be away from the UK, away from any distractions or friends and family that could have a negative influence in him, and he can solely focus on his football. So for Jadon Sancho's sake, I really hope he gets a great move this summer as he's such a talented player. Now, this rumor has really surprised me as I wouldn't have thought Moussa Diaby would be leaving the Premier League just after one season. Yes, the season didn't end well for him as he lost his place in the team, but he certainly played a part in Villa's qualification for Champions League football. According to rumours, the interest from Saudi Arabia's Al Ittihad is serious and they are willing to pay big money for a player. And some reports are suggesting that the player is interested in the move. The fee is reported to be around the 60 million mark, which is not an issue for Al Ittihad. But I have to be honest, I think it would be a shame if Diaby moved to Saudi Arabia, as he's a young player, only around, I think he's 24 years of age, and has a lot more to give in order to make his name in Europe. But the money that they're offering in Saudi is life-changing. So you've got to look out for number one and do what's best for yourself and for your family. Some fans will hate me for saying that, but it's the reality. As much as we love football, it's their occupation. So they're entitled to do what they believe is right for them and not to appease the fans. I'm really intrigued in terms of what type of players the Saudi Pro League will be targeting, as I've already seen some big names being linked. So I'll definitely be discussing the rumours in the coming weeks. Dortmund's Karim Adeyemi is being linked with a move to Chelsea. He's a very talented player who's known for his blistering pace and finishing. But last season, it wasn't a prolific one for the attacker. In all comps, he played 33 times with 5 goals and 2 assists to his name, and that's quite low for an attacking player. But last season could be regarded as a blip, as he's shown in the past that he's quite prolific in front of goal. Does this move make sense for Chelsea? Honestly, I don't think so. I think it would be a gamble to sign Adeyemi based on the season that he's just had. I do like the player, but sometimes with these young prospects, they do peak early. And is that the case for Adeyemi? It remains to be seen. So I'm not too sure about this rumour to Chelsea. Now, it's not a secret that Arsenal are looking to add some firepower to their squad and have now been linked with a move for Ajax's Brian Brobbey. Now, the Dutch international was part of the squad in the Euros, but only made a couple cameos off the bench, so we couldn't really analyse his performances. But in the league last season for Ajax, he played 30 times, scored 18 goals and provided 10 assists. Now, that's not bad for a striker, especially looking at the assists. So without watching him play, it would be safe to say that he's got a bit more to his game and is a team player. Would he be a success playing for a team like Arsenal? I think he would be a good addition to their squad. I'm just not so sure if he could take Arsenal to that next level, which is the type of striker that they're looking for right now. But let's see what happens with this rumour in the window. Now, McSauce leaving Manchester United? Saying so. Well, that's the rumour, as Fulham are pursuing the Scottish midfielder and have regarded him as one of their main targets. Now, with Palhinha leaving the club for Bayern Munich, I actually think McTominay would be a fantastic replacement and signing for Fulham. But whether Manchester United are willing to let go of the player remains to be seen. It all depends on their recruitment strategy in this window, as if McTominay is placed further down the pecking order, I think he will seek for a move elsewhere. Now, this rumour was mentioned in our first transfer talk show a few weeks ago, and I said that I doubt City would want the player to depart, and I don't think the player would be interested in leaving the club. But things have changed from Atletico's point of view. They're on the verge of selling Morata to AC Milan, and they need to find a replacement, and they have identified Alvarez as the main man. So the Spanish side will be in hot pursuit to get a signature, and I'm sure they'll be ready to spend big in order to find and recruit their main target. I feel like there may be something in this rumour, as Alvarez isn't first choice for Manchester City, and Atletico's stance of making him the main striker at the club could certainly appeal to the player. So let's see how this move develops. I think there's some legs into it. It will just depend on the transfer fee. I think that will be the stumbling block for Atletico Madrid. And the final rumour of the day, and it's not quite Premier League related, but it would be big news in European football, and that's Victor Osimhen being linked with a move to PSG. Now, it's not a secret that a striker is considering a move away from Napoli, as he's had a strange relationship with the club and the hierarchy for a number of reasons. So a move away from the club has always been on the cards, but the transfer fee has always been a bit of a blocker for the player. But with Mbappe leaving PSG, they are looking for their next talisman, and it could be Osimhen. I think he would be a fantastic signing for the club. The rumoured fee is £84 million, which can't be ruled out and seems to be a realistic amount of money for the French side, who are obviously backed by the Qataris. So this is one to keep an eye on in the coming weeks, as there will definitely be a statement signing if PSG were able to complete the deal. And that is the end of the show, guys. So thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you to Uncle Ross for the comment. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. The next show will be tomorrow at 10 p.m. UK time. I'll be doing a Liverpool transfer talk show. There's been a few discussions amongst us fans. One name that comes to mind is Trent Alexander-Arnold, so we'll be discussing him in more detail tomorrow. So the best thing to do is hit that notification bell so you know what time I'll be going live. Also follow me on social media at OZZIE'S.FTP on Instagram, Threads, and TikTok. And that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Take care, stay safe, and I hope to see you all very, very soon. Goodbye.